Right now, what we're going to do is we're each going to kind of say what we want the Browns to do at 44. So this will kind of give us an idea of where everyone's at, and maybe at 78 as well. I mean, who wants to go first? I kind of know what I want him to do. I'll just say this. I am concerned about receiver. Like, if you want one of these receivers, I'm genuinely concerned looking at the draft order, looking at the teams that have multiple picks, kind of who needs to take a receiver. Like, I mean, just as an example, the Jets, right? The Jets have a lot of needs, but I feel like the Jets have to take a receiver. And they go on the clock 3 times before the Browns. The Giants, I feel like the Giants with multiple picks have to take a receiver. And they're in the same boat. Kansas City's got to take a receiver with one of those 2 first-round picks. The Packers, Aaron Rodgers, he might burn down Lambeau if they don't take a receiver finally for him, especially after they traded Devontae Adams. I feel like there's a lot of teams that the Texans, you can make a case with multiple picks before the Browns, could probably take a receiver, especially if they're really doing this Davis Mills thing. I'm worried that a receiver is not going to get there to 44 that they like. You know, I mean, maybe I'm not saying like Calvin Austin wouldn't be there, but they might not match that value up. They might see Calvin Austin as more of a 3rd rounder. I feel like if they want one of these, like, yes, this guy can come in and play right away and be an outside receiver for us, a George Pickens, they might need to move up. And so that's what I think they're going to have to do with 44. They're going to have to move into probably the high 30s if they want to get their kind of quote unquote their guy at receiver. So I'm going to say try if Thursday night is done and George Pickens is on the board, I'm spending the whole night on the phone trying to figure out how to get into the high 30s. And I don't think it would cost it would cost you 44, it would maybe cost you your 5th round pick. I'm really bad at these draft value charts, but like
I don't know. I think it cost a future. I think it cost a future. I don't know if they had enough in this draft to do it, but yeah.
I would do that. I would do 44 and like a future 3rd or 4th, whatever it would be. I would do that to move into the 30s and get, let's just say George Pickens. That's the guy I'll advocate for here.
And you mentioned a lot of teams. I think the Bears at 39 are dangerous too, because they don't have a 1st round pick and they lost Allen Robinson and they don't have any receivers for Justin Fields to throw to. So I think they're probably hoping they can maybe get a number 1 receiver at 39. So I think you might have to get ahead of them. So I think that's well said. And then it's just, are you willing to pay the price? I completely agree. I'd be willing to pay it to get up and get the guy you believe in at receiver.
Is anybody staying at 44 and making the pick? Who do you have there?
I am. And I hope I'm not stealing Ashley's dude here. I had Logan Hall written down because he showed up in multiple drafts last week. Defensive tackle is like the lowest impact on wins. But Andrew Berry has taken 2 of them, 1 each in the last few drafts, used a 3rd rounder on 1, used a 4th rounder on 1. Maybe he's trying to hit on somebody here. But Logan Hall's a little different because he's kind of a tweener in between edge and tackle. He's very tall. Houston moved him all over the line. And we know the Browns like versatility on the line, so that could be important. He stood out at the combine, very athletic. It's a position where the Browns need depth, as we've said. He's one of PFF's top graded tackles over the last 2 seasons. And it's worth noting that in PFF's draft guide, their pro comparison for Logan Hall was Malik McDowell, which, again, big, tall dude. You can see the comparison there. Mock simulators I've seen and used have him available at 44. They also have him as one of the top rated guys left on the board at 44. So if they took him there, it would make sense to me.
I like that McDowell. That was one of the first thoughts I had when I was like, he's lighter than Malik McDowell, but he's like 6'6", and that stood out to me when I kind of first started looking at him too.
I would say maybe I'm not as big on getting a receiver here as some other people are. I mean, I've already said, why can't TPJ be the number 2 guy? So I'm cool with waiting on a receiver and taking Hall here.
I would say I'm currently like in a combination of the 2. Like, I do really like George Pickens, and if they can get him, great. Like, trade up, figure out a way to get that done. But if not, I am okay with Hall at 44. I do stand by that, but I think if they do explore that, like I said, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because I do think as the roster stands right now, they need somebody else in that receiver room. And I think he could be a guy who ends up being a steal for them if they can make that happen.
Yeah, I wanted to go receiver at number 44. I really did, because I do think that is so vitally important. I really do think that you can get your defense accomplished and do the things that you want to do. I mean, if you have to get more pass rush pressure from JOK, if you don't sign Jadavian, I mean, I think there are ways you can blitz, you can do different things to get to the quarterback and disrupt the quarterback and support Myles Garrett. So, I really did want to take a receiver, but I ended up liking a receiver that he was too high to take at number 44, and he fits better at 78. So for right now, and again, this could change next week if I end up doing a mock. So right now I ended up going edge at 44 and receiver at 78, just because of the dude that I had picked at receiver. So that left me with one Arnold Epicati.
Arnold Ebiketie, yeah.
He's
Arnold
the guy
Epicati.
that Mike Renner liked too.
Yes, and Mike Renner's discussion with us on the pod helped me crystallize this in my mind a little bit. Out of Penn State, Doug knows him. 6'2", 250, productive year last year. Actually, he was productive 2 years in a row from a sack standpoint. Some nice tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks last year. Good size, good speed, and somebody that you could actually get there around number 44 without moving up and without maneuvering too much. I think he actually is a realistic possibility for them there.